Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.
Good morning everyone. Yes, today we will discuss 1st October, The Hindu newspaper, some important articles relevant to our examination. Quickly have a look at all these important articles, then we will discuss them one by one. So yes, on first page again political news are there, not much important. Directly let us go to page number 6, editorial page. So the lead article, at the Quad, forming habits of cooperation. Okay, so this particular article written by, let's say, former diplomat, so that's why again the first hand experience in the diplomacy very important. Again the article discusses about the outcome of Quad summit, and it talks about how Quad is now getting institutionalized. Up till now whatever the discussion was going on वो हवा में चल रहा था, ठीक है, it was not having any rock solid basis, and that's why there were some, let's say, what you can say, criticism of the Quad, that there is no groundwork going on there. But now it is getting institutionalized, and in future we can expect more work in that direction. Okay, so we are going to discuss the outcome of recent Quad summit and how it is leading to institutionalization of this Quad grouping and how India is going to benefit from that. Okay, now on the left hand side there is one article on the bottom side, failing on food. So the context here is renaming of midday meal scheme as PM Poshan scheme, right? So yes, the article again discusses about the need of nutritional security and the significance of this PM Poshan scheme. In this particular article, we will also try to understand what is this PM Poshan scheme and how it is different from the earlier midday meal scheme. Some new additions are there in this particular scheme, how it is different, that can be the nature of question, okay, in your examination, right? Yes. So we will try to understand that. On page number 7, there is one article, making parties constitutional. This is directly relevant to our GS2 paper, polity and governance, as well as those who are having public administration optional subject and PSIR optional, right? Yes. So how it is relevant, because from time to time there are always concerns regarding lack of internal democracy in political parties in India. Okay, and that's why the article is providing the example of Germany, the Germany model, which provides for constitutional status to political parties and thereby holding them some kind of accountability, right? So this is how the article talks about, arguing that in India it should be made as a part of constitutional provisions. Okay, we will try to understand what are the problems, but directly we will not say that it should be brought under the constitution. Rather, there should be promotion of internal democracy and all these things. We will try to understand. Why? Because even the UK and US constitution also does not provide for constitutional status of political parties. And largely the polity that we adopted are from these two countries, right? The constitution of these two countries. So yes, we will discuss that from polity and governance, GS2 paper. Then on page number 8, topmost article, IMD says that monsoon may withdraw from next week. Okay, yes, it talks about the increase in the September rainfall, and to some extent it has helped to cover up the deficit that we were expecting in the monsoon rainfall. Now we have achieved around 99% of the average rainfall of the monsoon period, okay, this year. So it is not excess rainfall and not that much, let's say, less rainfall also. 99% of, we can say, long period average. What is long period average of India monsoon rainfall? 88 centimeter. Okay, so it is mentioned there. We will try to understand that, but the article also explains that why there has been excess rainfall during September month. The reasons are given, and it mentions about La Nina. Yes, this particular phenomenon, right? So we'll try to understand again basics of La Nina, El Nino, Moduki. What are these important contemporary climate phenomenon, we can say, right? Yes. Okay. Now after understanding this from geography aspect, on page number, we can say, yes, 11, India Australia to conclude free trade pact by end of 2022. So the Australian Commerce Trade Tourism Minister met India's Commerce Industry Minister, and the early harvest agreement is going to happen by the end of December, and next year we can expect free trade agreement between India and Australia. The article also mentions about Pashmina wool. Okay, so that's why again basics about Pashmina wool. In August month current affairs we discussed that. Again there will be revision about this. This can be asked in prelims examination. Okay, Pashmina wool, and then Changpa tribe, Changtangi goats from which this Pashmina wool is derived. These basics we have to understand from prelims perspective. Okay, just follow up to IR that bilateral free trade agreement is going to happen in future, but for prelims this information is important. Pashmina wool. Fine. So yes, these are the important articles. Let us go into details of all these things. First of all, mains related articles. At the Quad, forming habits of cooperation. See, from time to time I tell students, many times there is tendency of students to read the newspaper in a manner that extensive coverage of articles is required. Many times the comments in YouTube section, videos are also there that number of articles covered are less. Let me tell you that rather than focusing number of articles, you focus on how maximum inputs that you are taking from a particular article. Okay, newspaper reading is not that every article is to be covered, because there will be repetition, and it is my responsibility to cover all the articles in coming days. Okay, so whenever the article is repeating, I will try to skip that because you are having follow up on that. Okay, so rather than focusing on covering all the articles from one day, try to cover all important articles from all days. Okay, so this is important. So yes, do not worry about number of articles, let me tell you. Yes, so we are focusing on analyzing the outcome of Quad Summit that happened recently, and the cooperation revolves around 6 areas. Directly what you can do in your examination answers, you can simply write down the cooperation areas and like this, if direct question is asked in the examination. At the start itself, you can mention these cooperation areas. So first is in terms of infrastructure coordination. Okay, so in infrastructure coordination, there is contact group being formed, that is called as infrastructure coordination group. In earlier lectures, we discussed the outcome. There we talked about it also going to coordinate with Blue Dot Network. Blue Dot Network is initiative of Australia, Japan and US. This is to some extent against Belt and Road Initiative of China. At the same time, it also talks about the cooperation between this grouping and G20 grouping on infrastructure. It talked about Build Back Better World. Do you know about this? B3W it is called. G20 summit has talked about the infrastructure. In terms of infrastructure, B3W, Build Back Better World. So on both fronts, Blue Dot Network and B3W, this we can say infrastructure coordination group can cooperate with. Then the next part is related to critical and emerging technologies and not critical and emerging, sorry, cyber security and space sector. the cooperation in cyber security and space sector, and for that purpose a senior cyber group is formed and the new working group on space is being established. Okay, different terminology is used. Okay, so just you can write a group of experts, or we can say contact group is being formed. How these groups in initial part, they are going to just discuss what should be the area of cooperation. Okay, so this is how these groups are being formed in different areas. Then now Quad fellowship program, people to people contact. Okay, so under this Quad fellowship program, 100 students on annual basis, 25 from each country, 25 from each country in these 4 countries of, they will receive scholarship in US universities and colleges in STEM, science, technology, we can say engineering and mathematics, STEM subjects. Sorry? Yes, yes, yes. People to people contact, or we can say soft power, yes. Right. So this is again new area of cooperation. Then we should understand that this is not state sponsored. This particular fellowship program is philanthropic. Okay, it is philanthropic, not state sponsored. Then we should understand that when there was virtual meeting of the leaders in March 2021, earlier this year, there were 3 contact groups were formed in these areas for vaccine cooperation, for climate change, and on critical and emergent technologies. If you remember, if you are having let's say follow up on this current affairs, March 2021 there was virtual summit of the leaders of Quad countries. Okay, so here in vaccine cooperation, they had committed that they will provide 1 billion vaccine doses by the end of 2022. Okay, and how it is going to benefit? Yes, among those 4 countries, US is going to provide technology. Then manufacturing base of India is going to be used. Like recently, Biological E company, this is going to produce Johnson and Johnson, let's say vaccines in India, and then ultimately it is going to be exported and given to other countries. And the managerial skills of Japan and Australia are going to be used. Okay, so this is vaccine cooperation. Then on climate change, these countries are focusing on, let's say, increasing the aspirationals, or we can say targets. Especially it talked about net zero emissions with, let's say, domestic aspirations or compulsions into the policy making. So increasing the targets. Then it also talks about adaptation and mitigation projects. Okay, so in climate change it focuses on these areas. Then critical and emerging technologies. When we say critical and emerging technologies, there are various areas of cooperation. For example, it has talked about 5G technology, the cooperation. Then second, biotechnology. Third, supply chains of critical technologies like semiconductors. And fourth, there is one contact group being formed on AI technology, where the standards are being formed in use of this AI technology. We said that there is separate document regarding this technology as an outcome of this particular summit. Critical and emerging technologies, they were talking about utilization of this AI or development of this disrupting technologies, new technologies. in these areas how the Quad is cooperating. Now let us understand that we know that this is civilian areas of cooperation, but when we talk about the strategic and defense cooperation among the Quad countries, the Quad countries not explicitly focusing on these areas, but outside Quad grouping they are cooperating surely. This is how it is going on, because Quad does not want to show itself as Asian NATO. Okay, so in this manner, how they are cooperating outside? First thing they are focusing on, we can say, yes, Malabar exercise. All 4 countries' navies are involved here. Malabar exercise. Then we can say that 2+2 dialogue of India with all remaining 3 countries. Recently, Australia, we have instituted 2+2 dialogue with Australia also this year. Okay, so 2+2 dialogue helps in defense related cooperation. Then we can also say that the bilateral and trilateral cooperation, security cooperation, defense cooperation. For example, recently signed agreement AUKUS. Okay, some specific, like if you talk about India US, then you can talk about foundational agreements, right? India US foundational agreements were signed. So all these, in these areas, how these 4 countries are cooperating. So for the first time, India has become part of center stage at world level. Okay, India has been given equal, let's say, stage or equal weightage on those global platforms, and Quad basically is having a common vision. Okay, Quad grouping is having a common global view. This is how US President was talking about. And shared interests, democracies having, and we can say, common global view, and use this as simply as an introduction, use these 2 words in your introduction itself. Okay, Quad is a grouping of democracies with common global view and shared interests, right? So then you can go on discussing. Basically, you should talk about that India has been given the opportunity to deal with or cooperate with advanced countries or developed countries for the first time. Okay, and India should take benefits of this opportunity, and we can say that yes, already India has been important soft power, and through this grouping simultaneously India can also build its hard power, right? So in this manner we can discuss. Now, like, institutionalization of Quad has begun to gather speed. Comment in the light of recently held Quad summit. So you should be very aware about the outcome of this and how it is institutionalized. Like, these contact groups are being formed. This leads to further in future we can expect there will be charter of Quad grouping. In future we can expect there could be secretariat dedicated for Quad grouping. Okay, so this is how in future these areas of cooperation will further expand. There will be institutionalization in future. Okay, any doubt? Now moving on, making parties constitutional. Okay, this is important from GS2 paper, polity and governance part. Now we all know that this is the area up till now the question has not been asked in polity paper, GS2 paper. Okay, specifically regarding the political parties. Now we know that there is one topic in our syllabus called as Representation of People's Act, RPA, and every year somehow the question is asked like criminalization of politics, or let's say corrupt practices, and to some extent let's say transparency in the working of political parties. So it is always in news, right? So electoral bond scheme was there in news, finances of these political parties. So we are expecting such question that whether they should be given the constitutional status. Such kind of opinion based question can be asked. Okay, so you should be aware about the provisions of other countries also. Yes, but before that, basics. What is political party and its function? Basic you should be aware about. Political party, we never think about what is political party. We know that political party. But political party is, we can say, organized group of people, organized group of people with common view on governance and they seek to gain control of government as political entity or political unit to further their agenda or their philosophy, political philosophy, their agenda, right? This is the scientific definition of political parties. Okay, this is how you should write in your answers. Now, what is the, let's say, function of political party? We should know that the political party is that entity which represent people's opinions. They are always in contact with the people. They try to, let's say, change the discourse of the government through understanding the feelings, opinions of the people. Right, agenda of the government, policy making part of the government is influenced by these political parties. Right, so in this manner we should understand that political parties are the mainstay of political system of any country. There can be single party system like China, there can be two party system like US, or multi party system like UK and other democracies like India. Right. So let us understand now. First of all, you should be aware that US and UK constitution, like Indian constitution, does not provide constitutional status to political parties. Right. So there is no constitutional status given to the political parties, despite of being the main or important organ of political system. Right. Then second thing, you should understand the example of Germany. The basic law of Federal Republic of Germany gives constitutional status to political parties. And in that constitutional status, it has various provisions, like it talks about how the finances of the political parties are collected, or we can say how the expenditure is going on. It should be in public domain, there should be transparency. At the same time, there should be internal democracy in the political parties. Everything is mentioned in the constitutional provision itself. And that is to be regulated and monitored by the laws enacted by the parliament in the subsequent times. Okay. Now, in India, the significant provision regarding control and monitoring and regulation of these political parties is mentioned only in this RPA 1951. So, section 29A of this RPA is the only major provision dealing with political parties. And that too, general provisions are mentioned in that section regarding political parties. What should be political party and how it should be registered with the election commission. All these things are mentioned in that RPA. How it should conduct its business. Right. So yes, what are the problems with political parties in India? You should be aware about this. Okay. So first and foremost is that the explicit nature of caste and religious based political parties. Okay, so this is very unique to India. In other countries, caste and religion based political parties are not there. So in India, there are many such political parties. We will say that small regional political parties also, they are focusing specifically on caste or caste issues, religion, communal issues, and they are garnering, we can say, votes on these issues only. Then there is lack of transparency of finances. This has been the major problem, right? So how the political funding is happening, how the expenditure happening. So there is no transparency, we can say, regarding that. No intra-party or internal democracy, that is how this political party is working. Now we can understand that in India also, even the large political parties like BJP and Congress, there is lack of, we can say, intra-party or internal democracy, that there should be some regular elections, how the candidates are decided, there should be some kind of voting system. Okay, except some political parties like CPIM, there is no elections to the central body. Okay, so to some extent there are, we can say that, no internal democracy in these political parties, and we know that many of them, these are family fiefdoms, many, or we can say most of them, okay, including the large parties like Congress. Okay, so in this manner we should understand the problems of political parties in India, but whether they should be brought under the constitution or not. So that opinion you should say that no. Okay, why? Because you should be aware that our constitutional makers, they were aware about this. They were aware about this, and deliberately they have not included in the constitution. Obviously they have included all other things in the constitution, and the major thing in the political system, why they have not added? Because they were expecting that in future the political system or political parties and individuals, they will automatically behave in a mature manner, how they are behaving in advanced countries or western countries like US, UK. So there is some kind of political maturity among the politicians, okay, and therefore to some extent there is established internal democracy in all political parties. Okay, so basically when it happens by its own, it is sustainable long term, rather than, we can say, through the constitutional measures, the external measures, there should be some kind of internal changes. So as a way forward, what you should say, there should be voluntary reforms towards internal democracy, transparency, on funding, its working, you should mention. Then third thing, we can also say that yes, talent, merit rather than family. Okay, this should be the criteria, है ना? So in this manner we should talk about that, and obviously whatever, when we are talking about the electoral fundings and all these things, yes, ECI is already having those powers to hold the political parties accountable. So it is the responsibility of some of the constitutional bodies like Election Commission of India to hold the political parties accountable in terms of, let's say, corrupt practices. Already there are many corrupt practices mentioned in section 8 of RPA. Okay, so those corrupt practices, if the political parties are involved, I am not exactly remembering the section whether it is 8 or not, but yes, the RPA provides for that provisions, right? So corrupt practices, if they are found in, then ECI can take action.
Sir, recently in Gujarat, all from CM to all the cabinet has changed. But sir, sir, I think they are promoting that internal democracy because the person who has getting higher vote is the CM.
Yes, yes.
So we can get sort of example from there.
Yes, yes, you can give example. Basically, you should talk about, yes, the appropriate candidate, his capability. This is how, and then we can say that the seniority is also important part of political party. Not, but seniority should not be the sole criteria, no. Many a times that becomes the sole criteria. Like we have seen the fight between let's say some of the leaders in MP also, Madhya Pradesh also and Rajasthan also, right? One was senior leader and other was younger, Scindia and here Sachin Pilot and Rajasthan. So all these things are going on, right? So yes, merit should be given also preference along this seniority also, because that is experience, right? They have given their contribution to political party. So in this manner we should talk about, but do not say that it should be part of constitutional status. Already RPA strictly governs political parties. Fine? Okay. Now, moving on, failing on food. Yes, this particular editorial talks about recently launched Poshan scheme. Okay, so we are talking about nutritional security of the children. This PM Poshan scheme, Pradhan Mantri Poshan Shakti Nirman. Pradhan Mantri Poshan Shakti Nirman. This scheme is now let's say newly rebranded scheme. Earlier it was midday meal scheme. Okay, in previous lecture yesterday itself we discussed this evolution of midday meal scheme. Now some facts, new facts are mentioned in the first part. The findings of phase 1 of National Family Health Survey 5 for 22 states and union territories was released in 2020, and it has also given some critical data regarding child stunting, wasting, anemia. These three areas where undernutrition or malnutrition is happening. Okay. Now, how this particular scheme is different from the earlier midday meal scheme, we should discuss that aspect also. Okay. So, this scheme is different in a sense. First thing you should remember, midday meal scheme was focusing only on delivering the nutritional meal to the children. But now, this particular Poshan scheme will also evaluate or monitor and evaluate the nutritional status of children. Okay, so it also talks about nutritional or health indicators, monitoring, evaluating them. For example, there will be nutritional or nutrition expert appointed at school level or for each school level. For example, it can be ASHA worker or any person having knowledge about nutrition, and that person will monitor about, let's say, BMI, hemoglobin levels, right, or we can say weight of children. This will help in monitoring the nutrition status. Okay, and appropriate interventions can be undertaken later on. Second thing we should understand that it also talks about a diversification of diets, and inclusion of local, we can say, varieties of food in diet. It also talks about, for that purpose, support of farmer producers organization and self-help groups, women-led self-help groups, in providing the food grains and the food articles. Okay. Then it also talks about focus on certain districts where anemia is the problem. So specific nutritional supplements will be given in addition to these meals. Okay, so in this manner we should understand. Along with that, there are, let's say, provisions like there can be, let's say, the kitchen gardens. That concept started in some of the states, so it may be implemented at national levels now. In the school yards, there will be promotion of kitchen gardens, and the children's participation we can expect in future in growing those vegetables, and then later on those vegetables will be directly as a part of midday meal, or we can say that school meals which are being given. So at the same time, social audit is made compulsory for implementation of these schemes. Along with that, for, let's say, monitoring of these schemes, there can be, let's say, participation of schools and college students, not schools, sorry, college and university students. Okay, so through the field studies, they will be, let's say, participating in implementation, and we can say that monitoring of these schemes. This is how the PM Poshan scheme is different from the earlier midday meal scheme. Okay, now analyzing this PM Poshan scheme and need of it, yes, there is need of flexibility, as some child growth metrics such as stunting require longer window. We know that this PM Poshan is being implemented for only 5 years. But child stunting improvement in that particular indicator may be visible after 10 years, 7 years, 8 years. So we will not be able to get the complete picture, true picture. So there should be continuous implementation even after 5 years of this particular scheme. Then strong and continuous fiscal support is required. Always talk about this. Okay. So fiscal support is very important. There should not be reduction in the funding by the government. Okay, this is affecting, actually last year we witnessed that during pandemic time. Okay, so there was interruptions, there was lack of funding also. Then renewed plan should introduce greater diversity of diets. Yes, that is being implemented under PM Poshan scheme, and this is very important. And yes, we can also say that fortified food should be added in that dietary plan. Nutritional status can be further improved through that fortified. Recently, the government had said that it is going to introduce fortified rice in the diet. Midday meal schemes, fortified rice, right? So use that in your answers. Okay. Now moving on to next, monsoon may withdraw from next week. So it is announced by IMD, India Meteorological Department. Now, yes, we have received or recorded average of nearly 87 of rainfall, 87 centimeters of rainfall as on an average. Nearly, we can say that the average, long period average of India is 88 centimeter. Okay. Now, reasons for more rainfall during September month. In last 3 years, consequently, we have witnessed more rainfall during the September month than the average. So this year's reasons are explained by the expert here. Yes, transitioning temperatures in the Central Pacific Ocean where La Nina, characterized by colder than normal sea surface temperatures, was taking shape. So La Nina to some extent is correlated to more rainfall on Indian subcontinent during monsoon tip. So that's why the reason is being said that La Nina or much colder temperatures than the average normal are happening in Pacific, Central Pacific. Then favorable conditions in Indian Ocean as well as rain bearing system in Bay of Bengal that resulted into cyclone Gulab. And this has resulted into not rainfall not only in coastal areas, but the effect was seen in Maharashtra also. In last week there was torrential rainfall in Maharashtra, Telangana. Okay, the flooding happened in many such rivers, Godavari, its tributaries, right? So this is the impact of this rain bearing system in Bay of Bengal. Such kind of, let's say, meteorological conditions happened in the Bay of Bengal region, and this has helped in further more rainfall during the September month. But let us understand this La Nina El Nino system now. Pay attention here. This is the present, or we can say during the normal years, what is the atmospheric circulation and the pressure situation and temperature situations in Pacific Ocean. This is how we have to understand about this phenomenon. Let us understand first of all what is happening on the ground level or ocean surface level. During the normal year, so this is Australia, in the equatorial Pacific. In the equatorial Pacific, what is happening? Let us understand. We know that there are trade winds which are flowing in the tropical region from 0 to 23.5, right? Trade winds, we learn this in basics in NCERT also. Planetary winds as a part of planetary winds, and these trade winds in southern hemisphere they deflect to the left, and in northern hemisphere they deflect to the right, okay, and it is resulting into this movement of trade winds like this. So they are flowing like this, okay. Now because of that, what happens is the equatorial currents are set up, equatorial ocean currents we are saying, okay. There are different types of ocean currents, and in the equatorial region there are two types of currents formed, equatorial currents and counter equatorial currents, okay. So counter equatorial currents, it is not important right now, focus on equatorial current. So on the either side of equator, two equatorial currents are formed, on the southern side and the northern side, in this manner, and these winds drag this ocean water in this side. Now as it is equatorial or tropical area, ocean surface waters are warm, okay, and this warm water is getting accumulated in this area. Warm water is getting accumulated in this area. Now there is something called as southern oscillation, or there is some kind of pressure systems that are naturally established all over the world because of heat distribution, because of heat distribution. What is the, during the normal year, what is this pressure system? To the north of Australia, the pressure system in the atmosphere at the ground level is low pressure system, and along with that the warmer ocean water surface is there. Now when this system is there, what is happening in the atmosphere? You can see here, when there are warmer waters and low pressure is there, the wind tend to move upwards. When there are warmer surface water is there and low pressure is there, there will be upward movement of winds. When there is upward movement of winds, there will be diversion like this in the upper atmosphere, and some part of wind will try to move in this manner, okay. You can see here that this is going to settle near the eastern part of Pacific, where this area is this area. This is top view, this is side view. Are you able to understand this? This is atmospheric, this is from top view, we are looking at the water conditions and pressure conditions. Now when the air is subsiding down, here, there will be high pressure created. There will be high pressure created. When the air subsides, there will be high pressure. So here on this side you can see here the high pressure written. Along with that, there is unique phenomenon happening in this region during we can say normal years, when these winds are moving in this manner like this. Because of this, near the Peru coast, what happens is upwelling of cold current happens. What is upwelling? When the winds are flowing in a offshore manner. Offshore means from land to ocean, like this. They drag the surface water away from that region, and some water needs to replace that. Bottom cold water upwells there, and this is called as Peruvian current. So despite of being in a tropical areas, Peru coast, this particular coast throughout the year has cold waters. This is a result of upwelling. Now cold water is there, this also promotes high pressure. Already the high pressure is being established due to subsiding winds, and the cold waters in this region further helps in boosting that high pressure. Okay, so in this manner during normal year there will be cold waters near the Peruvian coast, and we can experience the dry conditions here and wet conditions here. As there is upward movement, there will be cloud formation, there will be condensation and precipitation. Okay, this is normal condition. What happens during the El Nino year? There is unusual arrival of warm waters near the Peru coast. Unusual, why I am saying unusual? Usually there is cold water. Just now we have understood. Usually there is cold water, but there is unusual arrival of warm water there. And because of that, the pressure systems change. The pressure systems change. Let us understand what is happening. Yes. So when there is El Nino year, there is weakening of this atmospheric circulation. This atmospheric circulation is called as Walker cell circulation. Okay, so Walker has given this, explained this circulation. So that's why it is called as Walker cell circulation, because this is happening in cells. Okay, equatorial regions. Okay, now weakening of this Walker cell circulation results into sometimes a reversal of pressure systems. So that means weakening of this particular low pressure and weakening of this particular high pressure. So that means what is happening here? You can see pressure increases. That means here the high pressure is being established. Earlier there was low pressure, and here low pressure is being established as there is warm waters are being. So why this is happening? You must be thinking, no, why weakening is happening? Weakening is happening because earlier these trade winds were so strong and these equatorial currents were very strong. Now they have become weak. You can see here there is weakening of equatorial currents there. It is written strong. There is weakening of, we can say, equatorial currents, and when the equatorial currents weakens, there is strengthening of equatorial counter current. See here, the strong counter current is moving like this. Counter current is moving in opposite direction and it is carrying the piled up warm waters in this direction between the equatorial currents. Equatorial current is like this, and then there is narrow area between these two, and there from that area the warm water is moving from this direction to this direction and it is reaching to Peru coast. it is reaching to Peru coast. Little bit difficult to understand. Okay, and we can understand there will not be direct question in UPSC examination in terms of explanation here. Up till now there is no question of explaining this concept, because it is we can say the part of geography optional subject, understanding in detail, but we need to understand in future. Already El Nino Moduki question was asked in prelims examination. El Nino Moduki. Okay, so we will understand that also. Now you have seen warm water is arriving in this region, and because of that what is happening, complete changes in the pressure systems. Up till now here there was low pressure, it has become high pressure, now it has become low pressure. So wind systems you can see here, as it has become low pressure, the wind here is moving up. This has become low pressure, so wind is coming down. So earlier there were drier conditions here, we can expect rainfall due to warm conditions during El Nino. Now how it is affecting the Indian monsoon phenomenon? Let us understand that part. See, the southern oscillations, which are part of pressure systems or pressure oscillations on the earth's surface, these oscillations are not only happening in Pacific Ocean, but they are linked with Indian Ocean also. How they are linked? See here. When there is low pressure here or high pressure here, there is further low pressure in the Caribbean Ocean or Caribbean Sea in Atlantic. Simultaneously on other side you can see here in Indian Ocean region, when there is low pressure here, then there is high pressure in this part and low pressure in this part. So Indian Ocean region also experience high pressure, low pressure. Okay, when this reverses, this also reverses. How? See here. When here high pressure is there, then you can see here the low pressure is shifted. And because of this, the monsoon phenomenon is getting affected. Okay. So in this manner we should understand the El Nino. Now what is happening in La Nina? Remember this. And what is happening in La Nina? The normal conditions are strengthened in La Nina. Normal conditions are strengthened. What was normal condition near Peru coast? Cold current, cold waters or cold current. You can see here it is further strengthened, and this high pressure is further strengthened there, and here the low pressure is further strengthened, and we can say that strengthening of Walker cell circulation, and that results into more rainfall. Try to understand, there is no established linkages or mathematical model which shows that the El Nino results into, we can say, less rainfall in India, or La Nina results into more rainfall. There has been many such years where there was El Nino year in the Pacific and more rainfall during the monsoon in India. There has been such years, and scientists are still working on that explanation, because Indian monsoon phenomenon is influenced by many other factors also, and this is one of the factors. Now what is El Nino Moduki? El Nino Moduki is very unique. Up till now we have seen that the complete Pacific Ocean has only one cell in the Walker cell circulation, but during the El Nino Moduki there is two cell formation in the Pacific Ocean. That means here you can see that the high pressure is there and cold waters are there north of Australia, also in this region. So high pressure, and in central Pacific there is low pressure. In central Pacific there is low pressure, and because of that what is happening, the wind is moving up, divergent, subsiding down here and subsiding down here. Basically up till now we have seen there is high pressure, low pressure oscillation was going, but on now both high pressure is there. At the center there is low pressure is being. This is the new term called as El Nino Moduki, or new phenomenon, or newly discovered phenomenon we will say. Okay, just remember this phenomenon. This can be again asked in the mains examination also. Okay. Yes, don't worry, in foundation batch further in detail, one complete lecture we had explained all these phenomenon, right? Yes, so that will be again helpful in further understanding. Now, India Australia to conclude free trade pact by the end of 2022. So there has been talks between the commerce and industry ministers of two countries, and they are saying that they will try to have the early harvest agreement by the end of this year, and by the end of next year there will be final free trade agreement between two countries. This is going to further double the current level of Australian dollars 26 billion Australian dollars bilateral trade once the full-fledged FTA is in place. So remember this fact also, but it is mentioned in Australian dollars. Okay, bilateral trade, present bilateral trade. Now the article mentions about, we can say, merino wool also, which is very famous in Australia, New Zealand and some of the European countries. At the same time, it also mentions about pashmina wool. Okay, so pashmina wool, it is derived from the undercoat of Changtangi goat. Changtangi goat, this Changtangi goat, high altitude goat is there, Tibetan region, and in India, Ladakh region. Now specific community is involved in production, that is called as Changpa tribe. Do you remember the question in prelims examination 2014 or 15? So in prelims already UPSC asked about this community. Okay, nomadic herders are there, Changpa in Ladakh region. So they rear this Changtangi goat. Naturally this goat shed their undercoat which regrows during winter. This undercoat is collected by combing the goat and not shearing. This is unique, okay, and that's why the high quality wool is found in pashmina. Okay, so combing, we can understand combing and shearing. Generally that let's say wool is collected by shearing activities, but it is from the combing of that goat. Okay, so this Changpa community in Ladakh region, and these actually are inhabitant of Changtang plateau of Tibet. That's what the name of the goat we got here, Changtang plateau of Tibet, Changtangi goat. Remember these facts for prelims examination. Now this raw pashmina by these nomadic people, after extraction it is exported to Kashmir, and in Kashmir there are skilled people, especially women. Okay, in Kashmir there are skilled personnel who weave this wool. Okay, so in this manner we should understand Kashmir does not produce pashmina wool, rather they produce pashmina shawls.
Sir, gifted to PM in 2004.
Yes, yes.
Diplomacy.
Yes,
It is
yes.
the only production, sir, not for raw material.
Yes, yes, yes. It is just a production, we can say. It is exported also, high quality pashmina shawls from Kashmir. So on the basis of this information, we can try to attempt this MCQ. Okay, so pashmina wool derived from undercoat of Changtangi goat, this is correct. Undercoat is collected by combing the goat and not by shearing, this is also correct. Tribal people of Kashmir Valley are traditional producers of, this is incorrect, right? Now generally people know that pashmina is from Kashmir. This is how UPSC can fool you, okay, or the aspirants. So here you need to remember Changpa community of Ladakh. Okay, so that's why the answer should be B, 1 and 2 only. Okay, so yes, any question that you have? Okay then, so there is one statement in that article, I am not remembering, editorial page. Yes, there is article written by Shivraj Singh Chauhan, CM of Madhya Pradesh, a state, a clean sweep and the art of sanitation. So basically it is talking about how MP has successfully implemented this Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Okay, so there are some points mentioned there, but not specifically. It can be used as a case study that how it has helped to change the behavior of the people in terms of sanitation when it comes to sanitation in public places. Okay, behavioral change. So this is very important part of Swachh Bharat mission, bringing behavioral change. This is successfully implemented in Madhya Pradesh, and that's why some of the cities of Madhya Pradesh, they always find top ranks in Swachh Sarvekshan, like Indore or Bhopal, right? So there is one statement at the last that Gandhiji's word, sanitation is more important than independence. This was said by Gandhiji. Sanitation is more important than independence. You need to elaborate this for 150 words in ethics paper. Okay, quotation based question. Why this sanitation? Tomorrow we will discuss this question.
Sir, failing of food nutrition is there, sir, for the Anganwadi school.
Sorry?
Failing of nutrition food.
Failing?
Failing of nutrition on food, sir. An article is there, sir. On Anganwadi school.
Yes.
Actually, the government is going to be sending the number of nutrition foods to the Anganwadi, sir.
Yes.
But the people are not getting aware how much of the food product is going to be sending a particular children. And that is the main drawback, sir, that food products are going to be diverting in another way.
Yes. People are not aware about how much amount of food is to be given every day. So yes, that's why information is the power. That's why we say that. Okay.
Is there any plans to tie up like a PDS price? PDS price is present to fully online system, sir. How much of the product is distributed to the particular customer?
Yes.
The same process implemented, that will be going to be in positive way, sir.
That can be used, but now the farmer producers organization and self-help groups led by women are being part of this mid-day meal scheme or this PM Poshan, and that will help further because when women-led self-help groups will be involved, so they will be more careful about the children's nutrition. This is also very important. Okay, this has been successfully implemented in some of the states. That's why it is going to be implemented at national stage now. Okay, tomorrow just remember about discussion of this quote. We will discuss tomorrow. Fine.
Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.